Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. We got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm just a question asker. I'm not important. My name is Raheem. We got everybody else that's coming with you. It's going to be on with us today. Um, Today's Thursday. Today's Thursday. We do have a topic today. We're gonna get to that topic in just a few minutes, but I want to ask a few questions even before. Look at here, look at here, look at here. There he is, y'all. My brother from another mother, but we got the same father. This is Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Man, look at I bet you say 2 days in a row is too much, huh?
Too much.
Don't ask for too much, huh? Cut it out, man. But Leonard, talk to me, man. We usually get started, man. When you talking to us about the political arena and what is going on in and around the world. Leonard, what's going on in the political world?
Well, there seems to be a movement, and I ain't gonna call it an attack, but definitely a movement to eradicate a lot of some of the main huge democratic principles. We used to hearing about the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. Recently, you see what has happened with Roe versus Wade, and the movement of this institution
Mm-hmm.
is very leery for the very simple fact that now they're going after what they quote call religious freedom
Mm-hmm.
with this last case about this coach, I believe, that was praying on a football field,
Mm.
not necessarily knowing that this was something to protect that right actually for religious freedom or to support a particular religious perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next step to destroying the democracy.
Wow. Wow.
And so we have to understand that we cannot have government institutions, or that institution should be aware that when they appear to no longer support the goals and the principles of the people,
Mm-hmm.
there's a huge problem. You
Mm-hmm.
can't have government institutions making decisions that are clearly opposite of the desire of the American people.
Well, Leonard, I say it all the time, man, and people look at me like I'm crazy. Look at me kind of crooked eye when I say this, man, but it seems as though a lot of times some of the things they're trying to do is leading more away from Democratic and more toward the Communist Party when they're trying to make all these decisions for you. They
And
You
that
can't
you're
do this, you
exactly
can't do
right.
that. Mm-hmm.
You're exactly right. That is the issue. The Republicans want to move to a more authoritarian,
Mm-hmm.
far less democratic control of America.
Wow.
And they would prefer that the minority rule because of their feeling that they're losing power unless people agree with what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to, it was just highly irregular for the Supreme Court in and of itself to initiate certain activities,
Mm-hmm.
especially with overturning Roe versus Wade
Yeah.
right before an election.
Yeah. Listen, I think that was very strategic though.
Well, strategic or not, it's going to have an impact. Whether
Mm-hmm.
it was strategic or not, it's going to have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy is strategy, but strategy can also be bad.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to know what the goal is of the person that is involved. And say, for instance, look at Clarence Thomas, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be impeached.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He really does because his
Mm-hmm.
actions show that for some reason, well, first, he's never been all that vocal in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
except for when his pappy died
Mm-hmm.
on the court. And who he followed, lock, step, wouldn't bend. Didn't matter if the man said, "Let's go back to hanging Negroes."
Mm-hmm.
Clarence Thomas would have been right there supporting him.
Wow.
So
Wow.
now he has come out as a huge hypocrite,
Mm-hmm.
simply based on his own marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, I think there needs to be a movement to impeach Clarence Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
to because the people must check the Supreme Court, not just the legislative branch or the executive. The people must go after this behavior by the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now and we got a caller. We're going to go to the call as well. And the phone lines are open 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Leonard, now, if they're leaning toward in a certain party, we know who that party is leaning towards trying to go communist. What example are they using Russia as a blueprint? Or what do you think? What is the motivation?
Well, no, they don't have to use Russia as a blueprint. It's really not about a Russian blueprint. It's more about a special interest that wants to take over the American government
Mm-hmm.
to further exploit the American people and American resources. So there are very wealthy interests that would support a coup against the American government
Mm-hmm.
if they were ever to get the signal like they did on January the 6th that it might be possible.
Mm.
See, that wasn't as possible without the executive branch participating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why some people believe that Trump had to be there, and why it seems to be a plan for Trump to be there is for him to be the leader of this movement.
And this hearing, man, you getting all kind of things out of this hearing. We'll talk about why he tried to choke CIA and all kind of stuff, man. He made demands that you take me over there.
But you know what? It is typical behavior of a person like him.
Mm.
I mean, it's almost textbook.
Mm.
Trump never had an intention on losing the election or losing power in the American government.
At all.
At all. He had always planned to, if he even lost, to lie, steal, and even destroy it or attempt this coup that was attempted on January the 6th.
Now, and I'm going to go. I think we have Hicks with us, but now it makes sense to me why doing this when he's trying to go for a second term in office. The question kept coming up: if you were to lose, would you leave? Would you leave peacefully? Would you leave office? And you know that question. It makes so much sense now. It makes so much sense.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. I hope everybody else is doing well there.
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, brother. What do you think about what we're talking about right now, man? With everything, and do you think it's leaning more towards a communist type situation? And is it based on the communism or is it based on economics? What they're trying to do.
Tail end of this here, but let's see if I could preface this. Start with right at the beginning of COVID. I was working at the VA hospital. During the time that all the regulations started came out, I was the oddball I could imagine, right? Because I didn't just bow and go along with and agree with. I always questioned the authority. But right at that time, I got married. And I got married without really knowing the person. We didn't know each other that well. We clicked on other areas, and we decided financially it'd be a good decision. But in the short of that story, watching the news, watching Fauci, watching all the rhetoric, all the stuff, it was like all the things I just heard right there from the brother Leonard. All the things that they're talking to his just was bombarding the people, newscasters, comedians, actors. Even saw put it in different movies and sitcoms. It was an overwhelming thing, and it destroyed the marriage. I couldn't deal with someone that wasn't open to learning, wasn't open to a person that didn't read. Just got most of the information from people around her and the news, and she was just too dead for me because I was always expanding. I think the rhetoric of now and talking about I had various pictures. In my youth about Clarence and his position, and I just began to. It forced me to study the Constitution, to really understand the origins of it, how it came about, and all the different intricacies throughout the centuries to come to a point for the first time in these thousands of years on the earth that some governments, and it was Britain first, that decided we're going to stop this slave trade and the fight that went on from there. I think that the whole concept of impeaching, it's a playbook. It's straight out of Russia, the Gulag Archipelago, the whole rise of that thought and system that destroyed millions of bodies. They killed people I mean, the millions of people die, but people don't know. Civilians don't tell us. We don't know that stuff. We just know what they put the spin on. But I think that side of that mind, that when things don't go their way, they want to change stuff. It's like playing a basketball game with somebody that don't want to admit defeat.
Wow.
I think Trump. I'm just in it with this here. I think the question arose: would if the decision didn't go Trump's way, would he accept it? I think that question came because everybody knows if they started from the very beginning, the DOJ, the former administration, right from the beginning, a plot against him, and all these and twisting everything of somebody that was viewed so much different for all those years. I think it's asinine, and it shows our inability to be critical thinkers, not just follow the lead that's given to us by the media and by politicians.
That's
But
good.
a little upside, like I literally, I left that marriage after 1 year, and it caused me a pain because she's got some of our money and she's going to try to get some more. But I just could not live with someone who's so closed-minded, not to either research issues just automatically. I appreciate it. I'm still listening.
Yeah, good deal. Good. Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Truly blessed and highly favored.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ibrahim, where are we, man? It's a certain part of our government and mutual line, brother. You got a little background noise coming. You got a little speaker and it's feedback. There's feedback coming from.
Yeah, well, that's the only way I could talk.
Let me ask you this. Are we leaning more towards a communist society here in the United States of America? Are they trying to take all of our rights away? And is it based on a system or is it based on economics that they're trying to do?
To be honest, you still got me muted?
No. Go ahead and talk, brother.
Okay. We are heading towards a fascist society. Now, I understand people always throw communism in there when they try to see of a central government. But this is more of a fascist society. It's a group of people. It's called ethocracy. A group of people over all other people within the land. And I was reading, fortunately, this morning when I got up and for Fajr, and I was reading the Quran, it turned me to a place in the Bible, the 20 in the Bible, of course, in the Old Testament, people don't use it, was 34 from 2 on now, and it really talks about the loss of people, right? That we turn against our people. We fed upon our own people. We feed upon your people and then they scatter themselves, right? And then they're left for meat amongst the beasts. And then they turn around and then as long as they don't have a leadership, right? A positive leadership that's going to feed them.
Hey, Abraham, turn your volume down a little bit, brother. You're getting some feedback. Turn your volume down some.
Okay. How about now?
You got to talk for me to hear it.
How about now?
There's still some static in your line from some kind of way. There's some kind of static in your line. But go ahead, bro.
Okay. Well, I'll finish up then. So we go to and fro without our shepherds, right? They're no longer shepherds. They just feed upon it. They're like the beasts of the field. They feed upon us, right? So to make a long story short, and what y'all talking about, that we're pushed in different directions. You read the Constitution of the United States, all our rights have been taken since 9/11. And we agreed to this because we want to stop those that were supposed to be, that were created to hunt us, and to kill us, right? And instead of finding that person that was reached out to try to kill us, right? We killed innocent people and took things from other people. So this is kind of like a thing that we're going around in a circle until we break this chain of stupidity and open ourselves to up to decent leadership. We're going to keep going in a circle, and we're going to fail because of it. So fascism is a way of just total domination. If you with this particular group, ethocracy, then you're going to succeed, right? And if you're not, you're going to fail. You're going to be pushed down. So that's pretty much what I look at it as.
Good deal. Curtis, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? I'm sorry. We have this Curtis, we might have just lost Curtis. We have Toussaint with us as well. Toussaint, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'll be fine.
Toussaint,
What
do
y'all
you
talking about today?
do you think with all the changes and all the rights and everything being taken away from the people by the government, do you think we're leaning toward a communist? They're leaning, or they're trying to steer us toward a communist type society? Do you think they're trying to do that to us?
We're doing it to ourselves. They didn't vote themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
We did, right?
Mm-hmm.
People don't just take an office.
Yeah.
From the school board to the president.
Mm-hmm.
They just jump. Oh, I'm gonna be the president today.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't how it works, is it?
No.
We just don't want to follow after. I hate to go this direction, but I'm gonna go anyway. We don't want to do the right thing. Let me say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to say we don't want to follow after righteousness.
Yeah.
We want a king. Give us a king like the other nations.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that no matter what you do, even if you want to pick you a scripture or a book, you know those books and those scriptures that we all go by, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, you notice that word never changes. Throughout the history, they've tried to take books out, but they still exist, and those words never change.
Mm-hmm.
You ever thought about that?
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing. God don't change either.
Come on.
The prophet says, God, they rejected me. No, they ain't. He said, no, they ain't. They're not. They're really not.
Mm-hmm.
They rejected me.
Yeah.
We reject God every time. And we go too far, and I'm just going to say it because I thought about it. See, Trump ain't stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a genius. Anybody that ain't got no sense can get 60, almost 70 million other folks to trust him, to lead them in the ditch. He's a genius.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's
shut up right there.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds pretty true to me. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Just listening. People will have their opinions of things, but it's a very intricate type of situation where even though things, seem to be falling apart or what have you, they're working according to someone's plan.
Yeah.
There's a plan. And if you don't know it, you're not included.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that is the thing. Democracy had to be fought for.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to continue to fight for it each and every day. There are some people that would prefer communism and fascism, as long as if they were guaranteed a winner, to be a winner. So you have to be very careful. There are some people that would love to force you to follow their religion.
Yeah.
That's why we have to be careful to check that in a democracy and maintain something as great as the First Amendment. Because believe it or not, some people don't believe you should have freedom of religion.
Wow.
And they live right here and they consider themselves Americans. They don't believe everybody should have
are you saying
sovereignty over their bodies.
Are you saying that they feel like everybody should believe what I believe and that's all
Yes.
you should believe?
Yes.
Wow.
And there are certain people who we just found out that don't believe that everybody should even have sovereignty over their bodies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the people need to check this power. You should be checking it at the polls, but all the polls is doing is telling you the truth about America. Half of us are still hateful, rotten individuals. And we always on a thin line. If you look at representation, of losing what it is that most people believe that America is about.
Mm-hmm.
Very thin line. 1 or 2 seats when it comes to a decision. You got some people that when things don't go their way, they leave an option to try to change the rules. Just like they did with Tiger Woods. Because when a guy came along that was beating everybody, the loser started changing the rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to be very careful. Just because it ain't working out for you don't mean you just jump in and change the rule.
Mm-hmm. Get better.
And so that's what people have to understand.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it, so we're going to change it. No. We need to sit back and examine every issue of it and make sure that if we are going to change a particular rule, that is not to further oppress Americans.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot move further towards oppression, period. I don't care how you feel or think about it. That's
And that's
one
what
thing I think that
that's
people
what you
hate
think
is
they're doing.
oppression.
And
Yes.
that's what you think they're trying to do. Okay.
Yes, it's always about oppression.
Mm-hmm.
And fascism is basically oppression by people who believe that they deserve a bigger piece of the pie.
Mm.
And it's led by a dictator. That's what fascism is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So we have to be very careful of that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. One more time for the people that did not have a pen. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? What do you feel about this?
I think like most times I've heard it, most people define fascism. I don't know where they get it from. Fascism is basically the government, the political, and the industry working hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of the simulation of how big tech and these big corporations influence all the policies coming out of the White House through their system of I forget the words. I'm really wrapped up in my head about this because I think that, again, I said one time, one of the things that ignorance is a choice in this day and time because information is there.
Mm-hmm.
It astonishes me that people don't have knowledge of what's going on in the origins of these things simply because they haven't sacrificed to take the time to research.
Mm-hmm.
So the opinions that you hear, it's like coming out of a room of holy rollers that all believe the same, or Muslims or Christians that have this theology that they base their things on, based off of belief, not facts, not data, not history, not a true interpretation of history. But fascism comes from a Roman word that's a binding a group of words. It's like that thing from out of many come one. It's the strength in numbers, the strength in being bound, and binding all the institutions of society wrapped up, controlled by one entity.
Yeah.
It don't have to be a person, but a system or a council.
Like the Latin word that you're speaking of, e pluribus unum. It's the same situation.
Yes,
yeah.
I was trying to get there. Yeah, e pluribus unum.
I got you, brother. We work together. You know how we do.
Yes.
Let me go to Badger. Badger, good morning.
Go
Badger, do you think we're leaning toward with all the change and all the rights being taken away from the American people? Do you think they're trying to lead us toward a communist society? And good morning. How you doing?
A communist society. Oh boy.
Come on, Badger.
With Trump? Yeah.
Yes.
What I saw in some of his rallies baffled my mind of how like desperate some people are to have America like change, because I was telling somebody yesterday about like what happened with the Roe versus Wade, right? And I'm having a conversation with him. I'm like, you do realize that there are going to be some states that's probably going to try to ban birth control and all kinds of stuff, right? And I'm like, and it's going to be the Republican Party. And they're like, no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't make a law that would restrict things so much. I pulled up the law and I showed it to him. And he was like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah. It's wrapped up in it doesn't matter what happens to the woman. The only time that they might allow it is if she might die. Or if it's 100% chance of death. However, if there's not enough medical evidence to show that it was necessary to do it, the doctor can be fined and put in prison. And I don't think they're going to charge the woman yet, but it wouldn't surprise me. So it's, and then when you look at that, and then look at the bills that haven't been passed that would actually benefit the people, it's getting spooky.
Absolutely.
So,
Tucson, I'm sorry, go ahead, Badger.
It just honestly feels like if you're not a part of the corporation clique, he ain't got nothing.
Wow. Tucson, you said you wanted to clarify something. We got Rico coming to you next, brother.
Yeah, I don't mean it, but I listened, and when it was said that we have a tendency to have no facts or data about the information that we get based on our religious belief. I don't know if that's, I'm not trying to quote what it said. I'm just trying to find some clarity of what it said. So my brother that talked before, Badger.
I saw it. Hicks.
Yeah.
Hicks. Yeah, I think what I was saying is that oftentimes when you're in my experience and what I study, when you lock down to groups that have this unity, which is a positive thing, but their belief system is all established off their principles, what they agree of, and most times they consider anyone other than them as the other, and there's a different expectation, a different even kind of treatment in the thought, in the mind, and the spirit about someone who don't believe religiously the same way you do. I think the contrast of that, in my experience, I saw was in the Nation of Islam, which is where my consciousness of birth began. It was a saying that we sort of moved by: hard-headed, stiff-necked, and rebellious. Hard to lead in the right direction, easy to lead in the wrong direction. But I wasn't saying that as a talker. In fact, I think religion is important in the very establishment of the soul of the individual. I think you branch off and figure out what you believe, but the basis got to be that in spite of anything, these are 10 things that we agree on. Anybody you meet that live in this society, we agree on these 10 things. And that's the basis of it. We believe these 10 things came from a source, from a creator that gave us rights. The rights that we talk about is not rights given to us by government. These were endowed to us by our creator. Everybody have a voice. They have a perspective on how they're viewing life, how they're feeling about life, and their perspective is valuable. And they should have the opportunity to express that, to find out how can it benefit the whole. And those parts of a person's perspective or opinions that you don't agree with, you cordially as adults and men who think critically, that you agree, disagree, and still polite and courteous to whoever. Because a person don't believe your way, don't make him an enemy. You can't take one part of a person that you see about a person and make a whole judgment on them. If you're going to judge fairly. And don't judge a thing before it's time.
Absolutely. That's good.
Okay.
Good to go. Good to go. Okay, good deal. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Welcome to a beautiful new day, baby.
Hey, welcome to you as well, brother. We're talking about with all the rights that's being taken back, Roe versus Wade, and a lot of other things I think that's on the table that hadn't come forward yet. Do you think this society, a certain part of this society, is trying to lean toward a communist society here for us?
First, let me say, if this is just the first indication, then it shows that it can happen and we way behind because they did it with January 6th. Then they did it with 9/11.
Come on.
With the executive acts and stuff that Bush did, the Patriot Act. So they're trying to go towards some type of society under the guise of the democracy.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to call it communism by another name because, to be honest with you, all of those titles that we're throwing around still have one thing in common. And they distract us with these titles. But whichever title you claim, you're giving somebody control. See, ever since I was young and I was observing this thing called life, I started noticing good and bad, and I heard the story about Adam and Eve, and I started wondering about the first man and this and that, and how the population grew, how we got here. I started thinking about the bad and the good that I seen, and order. Because if somebody didn't find a way to become the most powerful person in the world to control society or communities, it will be lawlessness. It will be death, murder, rape, despair, just be complete chaos if there was no order. So somebody came up with a way to do that. But then somebody said, you know what, we don't need to give one person this power because you know what? Everybody ain't perfect and some people only gonna go toward their agenda. So they started observing human nature, behavior, the behavior of society. Then certain groups of people came together and said, you know what, we can come up with a better plan than that. How about certain groups of people sort of dictate the standards of society so we can keep some type of order to this thing called life. So those groups come together and they think they have the best way. Then they put a name on it. But they still realize, well, look at this, man. We just got people that don't think like this falling in line. We have control. And that's a key word that everybody has been saying is control. So, you know, they know that once again, they hooked on the titles. Fascism, democracy, communism. Listen to them, y'all. Well, you know what? Time for a new one. They think they read it and they think they're talking about communism and fascism. I got a new one for them. It's still going to be the same concept. Still going to be a new way of control. But let's call it Trumpism. I'm that great. How about I just come up with a whole nother form of government? Still about me having control. And me thinking that order is supposed to be in the way that I think, my concept. But the people, the sheep, gonna keep on falling in line because we do need to have order. We do need to have control. So you have groups of people that come together and find out how they can make society go in the direction they wanted to go in. You even have some that want to create a new world order, one world government. But that is nowhere near most people's conversation. It ain't even in the atmosphere of their brain. I mean, so, you know, when you know that there are people in this world that think like I did when I was a young kid, that, man, somebody gonna have to find a way to come up with a system to control society and bring order, because if not, there will be complete chaos. But under the guise of democracy, you think you got it like that. Until you find out you might be a certain color.
Exactly.
Until you find out you're a certain sex, gender. Until you find out you're not in this income bracket and you're not succeeding in this system they created. The same corporate people that we support because we love capitalism. But we think we eating off of it, but really and truly, we just continue to give them more control by participating in this system instead of using it with more of a practical thought process. I mean, now we live for this dollar that makes this whole system exist and succeed. We live to make that. We survive from that same dollar that makes this system succeed. But the people that benefit from that dollar, it ain't us, but they want us to think that under the guise of democracy. They want us to think you got it right. And you can keep voting, and at the same time being led by the nose by people that can feed you whatever they want you to believe because they understand society better.
Good deal. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Love to hear what you think about this topic, whether you agree or disagree. Let's have the conversation. Hold on a second, Badger. That's how we get to a certain place. We have to have the conversation. We have to communicate with each other. So let's do that today. 508-924-3521. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I listen to Rico, and I tell you what, he has what you would call a natural gift. I think Prophet Muhammad said that when he was in the cave, right? He said that they told him to read. He said, "I'm an unlettered man. I cannot read." And they pressed him. The angel Gabriel pressed him and said, "Read from that heart." And he speaks of a wisdom that when I slow down and listen to him, that I hear what I'm trying to say, but he puts in such a plain form, and that amazes me. Of all people I hear, I listen to Rico, right now, because of the way he forms a thought or an opinion. And we had to get away with this opinion thing. We had to look at each other's growth process, how we interpret things, right? And a very important thing I think Rico said and somebody else said about that we're forming different societies, that we use these labels. I think it was Rico. We use these labels that we understand. We don't read, we don't study outside our own periphery, but we see these things in a certain way, and then that's how we form them and conform, right? But in actuality, we have a hard time of really understanding what democracy is. Democracy doesn't promise you freedom. It doesn't even promise you all the things that we think democracy does. The Constitution and democracy are two separate entities. Democracy is a way that you can get your voice heard in whatever group or sect you're in. If you're the majority, democracy is called democracy. And if you read consistently on democracy, you see what I'm talking about. But and people tend towards fascism. People for a single leader. That's fascism. That's not communism. The definition of communism, you have to study some of the people that start, like Lenin and Trotsky and Dvorsky, and talk about and you look at, anyway, Stalin was actually one put it into work. But Lenin is different from what Lenin envisioned. But again, without getting into academics, we have to really look at it what it is. You see what it is. You see the tree is bearing bad fruit or poison fruit, then that's the truth. That's the truth. You have to use your eyes and your taste buds and your all 5 senses to understand what the truth is. I mean, it's given to us to understand that, right? You see how it works. And don't fun like say this doesn't happen. This only happens with those people. It happens among all people. Some of our people are those people. They fall into that Trumpism, like the brother called, but it's actually fascism. And you can find that all over the globe. We tend to lean towards that because we want a strong leader, irregardless of his faults, right? But when in essence we need more than that. We need more. And people is close to 50 to 60. Do you remember from the Reagan administration up until the 2000s, the Christian majority, the silent majority, Christian majority? If you remember all that, then Trump was to be that leader, that demonic figure, that figure people find attractive, right? I know some of y'all read Revelations, and find beautiful, and the ugly head roll, but anyway, this is what we got today. This is what we asked for, we champion for, and we still can't see the truth of democracy, the laws of the land, and everything, and how they affect everybody. And I heard people talk about how great the laws of the land and society and government, and now we want to argue about Roe versus Wade. There's nothing to argue about. There was no freedom promised. It was laws that were passed. And law, and like I said earlier, years, when I first started with you guys, that law is a living document. The Constitution is a living document. That's why you have amendments. It doesn't die. It doesn't stay static. It conforms, and it forms is what people will it to be. So we want the will. Then we have to act accordingly.
30 seconds, sir.
We have to call it and oppose that will upon others and ourselves.
Good deal. Let's keep this thing up. Badger, I think you had something on your heart. We're gonna go to Curtis after that. Badger, what's on your heart, bro?
Well, I heard Donald say something about religion being brought up, and it is, and it's playing a huge factor in a lot of things too. Because guess what? What I was hearing during the Trump rally.
What's that?
Let us Christians and pro-lifers and get together and drive out the Democrats. You know, the ones that are going to bring in the MS-13s and the people that are pro-death and da-da-da-da-da. So, in essence, all I heard was Hitler talking. So, if they don't believe what we believe, then you can get the picture from there.
Yeah, yeah.
So religion always plays a factor, unfortunately.
Religion. That's a very wide thing, because what you got to understand when you talk about religion, you're not necessarily talking about Christianity or Muslim or Judaism or something like that. You're not necessarily talking about that, because a person could religiously get up every day. A person could religiously put on their shoes. A person could religiously get dressed. And so that's different from spirituality. But then when somebody says they're spiritual, I want to know what spirit are you speaking of? Because just like that, there's also a lot of different spirits out there. So we have to be real careful of what we're doing and where we stand. But Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning? Excuse me, Curtis. Curtis, asking
morning, fella.
Good morning, sir. Asking a question this morning, Curtis. With all the things that's being changed, with all the laws that's being taken away, is there a certain element of our society that's trying to lean toward a communist society?
It's an element of our society that's been leaning towards Nazism. I'm not even going to say communism, because if you really study, you know, I'm going to get in trouble for saying what I'm about to say.
Get in trouble, brother. We do it every day. Talk to me.
How many folks actually have actually read the original Communist Manifesto?
I have. Hicks. I have.
Who is that?
Hicks.
Okay, Hicks. In the original Communist Manifesto, can you please explain to the people what communism was about? The original, not the one that the Russians took, but the original. Can you really explain what it was about? Did you really get it?
I think the bottom line of it, because it is a complicated subject, but the bottom line, it divided people of the earth into two groups: the haves and the have-nots. The lumpen proletariat, the people that had to work, and the other people who had the means of production, and divided, and it created enmity between the two parties. It's the same thing. It's pretty much the basic thing we see happening now. A demonizing of the opposition. Yes, sorry.
Can't hear both of you at the same time. One at a time.
About communism, the Communist Manifesto. That was Marx and Lenin that wrote the Communist Manifesto. The way to break it down is communalism. It's a core working for the good of the whole through the control of the central government. The manifesto broke down how these communal government, can rule and lead themselves. The community rule themselves, right? Not from trickle down, but a trickle, but a building up was the idea of the concept of communism. You can look at it as communalism. We all work together. We all have a voice or a vote. Of course, when Stalin imposed upon it, he changed it and broke it. He had Lenin killed, if y'all remember. History was all research, right? Studies are right. And so I just interject it and I'll back out there.
No, thank you, because that's where I was ready to go.
Okay.
Because the original communism was Marxism, and it is exactly what the brother said earlier. It was a build-up by the people. So basically, if you really do a study, Marxism was based off of the Nubian people. See, in Nubia, it wasn't no rich man above all. In Nubia, in the Nubian culture, if I had 20 cows and you only had 10, but your family needed at least 15 cows to survive, and my family only needed 15 cows to survive, I would automatically grant you 5 so that we would be evened out. And then you would grant me something that I need so that we would be evened out.
That sound like a barter system.
Huh?
Sound almost like a barter system.
It was a barter system.
Mm-hmm.
The original Nubian system is how we have the stock market, the idea of trade and barter, you name it, right? But what Lenin did, what the Russians did, was the Russians took out and they created that whole little culture over there, created communism.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Communism is not a direct. That's why you hear them say, that's why they constantly connect communism to socialism.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you connect the two, and if you throw socialism in there, what happens is socialism will stop a rich man from becoming the end all to what is the governing body of a country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was your question, Raheem? This is just my opinion. Now, I could be wrong. What was your question again, Raheem, so I can answer it?
Well, now, because you meant almost 4 minutes, brother. We got to wrap it up. But my question was, hold on.
I got one sentence to answer your question. I just want to make sure I answer the right one.
Okay. Are we leaning with everything that's being taken away, by the government at this time, from the rights of the people? Or are we leaning? Is there a certain element that's leaning toward a communist society?
No, we are leaning towards a Nazism society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That has a communist base to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we are leaning this society right now, as we speak, as we're living, as we're seeing it, and if we don't pay no attention, we are leaning towards Nazism.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing Nazism in the third, from the ideology of the Third Reich.
Wow. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, where's your heart on this? Everything's been, I'm not gonna say everything, but a lot of things are being taken away. A lot of things are being taken away in this day and time from the rights of the people. Do you think that our government or an element of our government is leaning toward a communist type society?
I do. I do. And I really, it disturbs me, but you know, a lot of the people in this country, we you know, and I'm going to say this, and it's not going to sit well with some of our people on here, because it's just what they believe. I believe that the last president, his whole intention was to take us in that direction, because as far as I'm concerned, he's a dictator. He wants, his whole thing is to be a dictator where everybody just listens. He loves that's why he loves and idolizes people like Putin and what's the one he called little rocket boy or whatever the heck he called that man.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to be them. His whole thing is he wants to be able to control everybody and control what people do, what people could say. You know, even his attack on the news media constantly was a plot as a part of him becoming a dictator. And I'll be totally honest, and I've said this before, and it happened, and I don't care. When he was running for office, and I had this uncomfortable feeling about him. It just my spirit, just every time I heard his name, every time I heard his voice, my spirit would just cringe. And so I was like, God, what is this? Because we've had Republican presidents before. I've never had any problem with any of these men. And then one night I was like just absorbed in prayer and went to sleep. And I sat straight up in my bed in the middle of the night, and the word Hitler came out of my mouth. And it just scared the bejesus out of me. So, you know, people can say whatever they want, but this man, his intention was to take us in that direction.
Wow.
And that's why the insurrection was a concern of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll end it right there.
Wow. It's a lot tied up in this thing. I know we have my daughter Mary. I know she can't comment on this, but I want to acknowledge the fact that I do know you're there, Mary. Good morning. How you doing this morning, Mary?
I would have rather you not do that.
Huh?
You hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said in topics like this, I'd rather just not be acknowledged because I'm not supposed to be on the line at all.
Okay. Okay. Well, look. Well, we're gonna pretend like you ain't there. Leonard, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
You know, particularly people have to understand, you know, not to get caught up in a lot of things and to actually really look at the information what's available. Certain people prefer certain things, and that's why they work. Now, one, I am not for the fatalist view of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You react to what is actually happening more so than what you believe. We need to check any power that relates to what that former president was trying to accomplish. Communism in itself, some people believe, is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, people would be shocked, but check your Christianity. Check your Christianity very well.
What does that mean?
Because people see communism as something that someone else is doing, and it's just so far out there. No, it's not that far out there, because some people believe that no one should own anything. The government should own it all. The government should allocate it to whom they see fit. But public ownership of anything is not allowed. Because some people believe that regardless of their efforts, they should be equalized. So if you making $1 million and there's a guy over here making 500,000, he thinks it's quite fair that you should give up your 9,500 for the good and benefit to keep everybody on the same playing field. We won't create separate classes, and now everybody will be the same class regardless of their input.
Then I read somewhere where it says that the poor will always be among us.
Well, poverty that way, as it is in Christianity, is that's the way it's written. That the poor will be with you always, because it relates more to a mindset as well. And there will always be people trying to oppress other people. So this is why decent people should fight for liberation and freedom. Now, if you want to identify as a slave, that's your business.
Yeah, I can't walk with you.
Just like a boy that say he want to be a girl, and that's how he want to identify, then yeah, you go ahead and identify. You buy into it. If you want to be a slave that bad, go ahead. Matter of fact, get a tattoo.
Wow. 30 seconds, Leonard.
But the decent people gonna fight for freedom and against those types of things.
Exactly. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, man, I want to thank Ibrahim, man, for saying what he said, man. You know, sometimes I struggle trying to put my words together, and I swear, on everything I love, I don't even express myself the way that I want to. So I'm glad somebody understands it, because I swear, sometimes I think I'm losing myself. I have so much to say. You know what I'm saying? Man, this thing, I'm gonna read y'all something, man. See, this is how complicated it is. You know, I heard Cassandra say that about, you know, him opening up the doors. And, you know, some people, they do that. They try to disrupt the system and bring chaos and disorder so they can introduce new ways. And right about now, you know, we're hearing certain words, the Trump way, Trumpism. It's about time for a new ism. So we saying communism, we saying Nazism, and, you know, really truly, when you think about communism, you know how they say it started off good. When Curtis brought that up, I never made the manifesto, but I did go and research how it came about. And when I saw how it came about and how it got twisted, how it turned, I was like, man, that started off right. But somebody decided to come in and do it their way. And they convinced other people, masses of people, to do it their way by influence and propaganda and rhetoric and just using angles like religion or Christianity or whatever, all to pro-life. They use all type of different propaganda to get their point across. And then some of it was just underhanded slaughtering, murder, savage barbarism. But see, when you in this country, you can't look that savage. So you gotta You got to maneuver a different way. So I'm gonna bring up this person's name. His name is Prescott Bush. He was an American banker and politician. Now we know about them banks. Like I said, they created a system that really ain't got no value. It ain't backed by nothing but the back of people. That's what the dollar's based off of. But he's an American banker that deals in that business, and a politician. And after working as a Wall Street executive, investment banker, he represented Connecticut in the United States Senate from 1952 to 1963. Guess what else he did? He worked with the bankers and industrialists and the Rockefellers to supply Hitler with everything they needed. But we were supposed to be against Germany, right? Well, dang, somebody in America was supporting the enemy. Somebody in America believed in Nazism. They called them neo-Nazis. They even had headquarters in America. Neo-Nazis, rich Wall Street bankers, politicians that provided Germany with the oil and everything they needed to succeed in doing what they did. And at the same time, they were fighting against them. Oh, we do that all the time. But it ain't us, it's the big people. Remember I said sometimes it's a group of people that really understand how things work, and so they really control what's going on. But they fool us and have us supporting things that really don't benefit us, or nobody else just benefits them. So there it is. They didn't put that part in the history of the description of Prescott Bush, but that's part of his history too.
Exactly.
And guess what we did? We voted his son as president. Then guess what we did? We voted his grandson as president. And we watched them steal the election. Why wouldn't they get that steal election stuff from? Now they can flip it around and use it in their favor. They stole the election. Just create more confusion and chaos. And we just follow along using their terms. And actually they introducing the terms to us that's fixing to come if they succeed. And it's going to be Trumpism.
Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Just listening to what's being said, and it honestly feels like there is a massive separation. To me, it's almost the equivalent. It's the equivalent of the Civil War days. But this is boiling down to, to be honest, based on what they're saying, it's like the comment I made yesterday, right? Hitler called himself a Christian. Hitler figured out how to get people to turn on a certain group of people. When you have a human being that, especially one that runs businesses, who understands how to get people on their side to focus on the money, and approaching it from that standpoint, that's calling themselves a certain thing, which is going to also reach out to people and confuse people. It's boiling down to another battle of belief in what is right and what is wrong, based on the group of people's perception. So, the things I was hearing him say, and the people that were there cheering it on and agreeing with them and all of that stuff, just I don't think I could properly explain how it made me feel. It's one of the few times where I'm like, I actually have shivers going down my back. Like, I'm actually worried that everyone is going to have to go back to a master-slave mentality. And if you don't believe or do what that group of people want, I don't know what they're going to do.
Wow.
And that's a scary thought.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, I think, again, like I said again, in the beginning of the COVID, when this whole thing happened, the panic and the fear that was in everybody. And I think me being a combat veteran with PTSD, working in the hospital around the nurses and everybody was so frightening. It was just frustrating and sickening for me. So I retired. And I hear again the paranoia and the fear. And I think that's because the media and everybody is vows getting us to focus on all those things that cause us shock and fear, and the bad things. Just for a short thing before I end, I found a site on YouTube the other day. It really surprised me. And the thing was our clips of people doing kind acts, and I got to tell you, I'm a hard guy. Had a hard life, but as I watched these different acts of kindness that people did random, it made my heart feel good. And it made me like sort of think, I said, all these news stations, everything that comes at us through the COVID or through 9/11, through everything, is all these things that get us to feel fear and have us to look at everything that's wrong. It takes a discipline of my mind and focus to look in the world and look at life and look at history, how it evolved, and see the good that's there, and see how it's try to focus on and feel that too with all the other stuff. But I don't have a fear about the future, about what's going on, and I think it's rooted again in what I said again. And I won't say a religion, but a spirituality and a contact inside your personal life with the source. But don't be afraid. Don't be feared. At least don't make decisions and give up all your freedoms and powers. 9/11, we gave up our civil rights. We're not operating under anything under the Constitution now. Technically, that's how they can hold those people up there for January 6th in that condition for all this time, for a situation that they know and document. They know people that was planning inside that, just like in the Panther days, the counter intel Poe that was there inciting and leading. They were throwing the rock and hiding their hand. FBI, CIA, that's a fact.
Exactly. Curtis, what's on your heart? Cassandra, come to you next. Curtis, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. You said what's on my heart?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but I spoke on it 4 years ago. I spoke on everything that we see right now 4 years ago. Well, 6 years ago now. The very first broadcast we had after the election. And for the next 4 weeks, I spoke on it. See, the thing of it is, okay, well, first off, Rico said something that blew my mind. Let me just make this quick. Rico said something that blew my mind. Because when you realistically think about it, Rico is dead serious. In the state for which y'all sitting in right now, for those that are sitting in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, South and North Carolina are states that have not only historical data and proof, but the places still exist. This whole neo-Nazi movement has been propped up by the banks in the extremely wealthy, Prescott and all of them for years. Do you know that in America, primarily in the southern states, Pennsylvania, when you go northern states, it was Pennsylvania, I think Maine, and Vermont. Do you know that they had Nazi prison camps in those southern states? When black folks started walking away from the fields, like truly walking away from the fields. I ain't talking about 1865. I'm talking about during Jim Crow and all that, black folks started migrating during World War II. The prisoners of war from Germany that were Nazis were placed in prison camps right there in Georgia. And they were made to work the field. What do you think happened? What do you think happened to those people after the war was over? You think a lot of them went home? No. California. There was a neo-Nazi movement in California which stomped out the Mexicans who, after the I think it's the Spanish-American War, I'm not sure which war it was, but
30 seconds.
The war that when America took over California, Arizona, Texas, those areas there, there was a neo-Nazi faction that stomped them out in places like Watts, LA, San Diego. This ain't nothing new.
Wow. Good deal. Let's go to Tucson. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
I wish that I had a bigger library. Then I would be smart. But here what the problem is. Here's the problem with it. I can only fit so much in my library. There's other information that I'll miss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what we do is focus on the information available to us, and we make it our truth. And that's just me.
Yeah.
That's what that's where most people go wrong. Because there's other truths other than yours.
Come on.
And when somebody gets to the point that they try to manipulate their truth, I believe that is also a form of dictatorship and communism. Somebody smarter than you, that's why you follow them.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I'm
good.
just saying.
That's good. That's good.
I like this conversation. It make me miss them.
That's good. That's good, brother. Ibrahim, what's on your heart?
Yeah, again, I kind of question that analogy, but information. The thing, the problem with these days in time, we got information, but we don't have the discerning mind to interpret information or to even down the right path, right? If you don't have knowledge, and you take one book and you study that book, but then you study the author. You study the author before I even study the book. Who he is, what is his bias? Where is he going with this, right? And then I read the book, and I can see those things that I have a problem with. Then I read somebody else that he mentioned, and you know what? It's just like Corona. My grandchildren, everything about me. Oh, you crazy? You gonna take the shot? Well, I've watched it. I watched millions of watching what I thought or heard was millions of people die. So I studied the Bible. They said, well, you have some flesh of some poor child in 1960, right? Because of recombinant DNA. So I researched recombinant DNA, and I explained it to them. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it because some lady told them that you get in the lungs of a 1960 white fetus, a white boy fetus, right? And that's what you're doing. And I researched and everything, and I like that. I said, well, that's improbable. It's not impossible, improbable. But if you study the whole thing, and the different companies that manufacture these different drugs, some of them didn't use that at all. It was a different way of it. But to make a long story short, right? Can I just finish? Let me finish for a second.
Somebody got something going on in the background. That you, Ibrahim?
No, it's not me.
Okay, somebody got something going on in the background. Mute your lines for me. Yeah, mute your line for me so we don't have the interference. But go ahead, Ibrahim.
Okay, so just finishing up, right? That you have to research, you have to learn, you have to see, you have to question the things that you see, right, and understand them.
and use plain knowledge, because I hear a lot of people repeating what other people said, you know, but like Rico and the other brother my age, you know, we actually saw things happen, and you blend this in. You visualize it, you taste it, and then you refer upon it, and then you analyze and see what seems to be the right course of direction. And yeah, if you have knowledge and able to put it to use, knowledge without putting it to uses, right? But if you have knowledge and put it to use, yeah, you're going to lead. Yeah, you're going to be out there in front. And you're going to be hated because the people that want to stifle that type of information and knowledge will do everything they can to stifle it. And fascism is a key word that everybody keeps missing. Nazism is fascism, right? It was the way it was run, the way it was held. It started out, it was named the Social Democratic Party, right? In German, I think it came out the Nazis, right? But they killed the communists, they killed the socialists, and then they killed the, you know what I'm saying? So if we want to follow this up and we want to blame, it's people that give us information to have fear against the communism. We don't, you know, everybody lives around communism. We hear things about communism that may be true or not true. But what about
Ibrahim? Got to keep it moving, brother.
What? Okay.
Finish your thought.
I finish up. Okay. But if you look at what this country has done in your lifetime, they have murdered, destroyed more people. And you look at the European ideology and advent of Christianity, right? They have killed more people in the name of democracy and Christianity than anybody else have killed before, enslaved more people than anybody enslaved before. And you can mention the Arab Islam, but that came 300 years later after Constantine designed, or 1,200 years later, after Constantine had designed this group that he called Christianity. So now, if you want
to go, hold on, Ibrahim,
right?
Gotta keep it, Ibrahim, gotta keep it moving, brother. You know, you're over your 3 minutes. I wanted to grace you a few more minutes to finish your thought, but let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
You know, I would like to focus on my couple of minutes on what the gentleman said about that was talking about working in the hospital, the PTSD,
yes.
and how he found these acts of kindness on let me tell you something. If you don't do that, if you don't try to do something to show kindness or to see kindness, it will mess you up in this time that we're living in right now. I'm sorry. It is so much negativity going on. That's why every day that I open my eyes, unless I cannot leave my home, I do something to try to make somebody's life better. And even if I'm at home, I'm on the phone trying to encourage somebody and say something kind or do something kind. Because this world that we're in right now, all this crazy stuff going on, I'm telling you guys, the only thing is the love and the compassion that I have for people that keeps me sane. And I'm just saying that based on what the brother said. That touched me, because I literally hunt out seeing goodness and kindness and passing it on. Those things are important to me in the times that we're in right now.
That's good. That's good. Hey, Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. We got 5 more minutes before we move on to our next topic.
I'll just do a second or two, but you touch my heart, sister. You touch my heart, because it's the only thing that keeps me sane. It seems like I used to sometimes say, you know, ignorance is bliss. I went to the point I said, when I was like 18, I said, I want to stop learning, because the more I learned, I went through all the emotions. I got angry. I got frustrated. I argued with my family. I argued with people. I debated. I tried to convince everybody around me. And it's just when I discovered that point in my life, when I started looking at it, I had to go through a lot of pain, some prison time, a whole bunch of lost marriages and broken hearts to come to the point to get out of the politics, get out of Karl Marx, Franz Fanon, you know, Gulak, Acapella, learn all the stuff, and then figuring out it's just one thing in my life. As I walk through this life, the only thing I have control over is how I treat people, how open I am, and be honest with myself and make adjustments where I see the faults that I have.
Amen.
And I'm out of here. But thank you, sister. I guess in bleeding, being emotional is a new thing for me. All of my life, I blocked off all feelings. You have to block off feelings to do some of the things you do. And so now, I mean, like this conversation, I ain't ashamed. I got tears running down my eyes. And I think,
Wow. Rico?
Yeah, I know how that is, man. You know what I'm saying? And see, it was great that he came in like that and Cassandra came back. Because to me, it goes back to reinforce what Leonard was saying earlier about the people. So now we have to ask the question, why aren't the people waking up from this type of system and these ideologies that have us distracted and in chaos? Because like she said, man, the intention is to create this chaos, distraction from what's really going on and what's really important, and to just have you following along, being led by the nose, taking the most convenient information that you can and doing more damage to yourself and not understanding why you're living in a world of chaos and stress. And you need these stress relievers. You got to find some type of way to find something positive. So even though you might have to get away sometimes or go find something to just make you happy, you can't get overconsumed with that, because like right now we asking, why don't people vote? You know, I see people getting rich right now from having viral videos with 10 million views for doing something stupid, a crate challenge. That's what people are trying to do. They're trying to find entertainment. They're trying to find a reason to laugh. They're trying to find some joy, because there's so much chaos going on and disorder. If you look on the news, back to back, all you hearing is destruction, killing, murder, stealing, robbing, kidnapping. You hear it all the time. Inflation, recession, insurrection. You hearing all these different things. Mass shootings, abortion, gun, death. First time I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, man, I turned on the news. I was like, well, you know what? This will give me a general idea of what to expect. You know what I'm saying? I walked around at first and seen all them orange trees 2 days after Christmas. I said, man, this is paradise. And I turned on that news, and it was murder. I was like, oh my God, I done messed up. I done came somewhere worse. It's everywhere. So you have to go try to find some type of peace and joy, but at the same time, we still exist in this thing. So another way we can find peace and joy is putting what we know into action and trying to make a change and create some change so we can feel better. And to even make people feel better, don't even understand why they don't feel good.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand why they stressed out and why they all over the place and why they distracted and why they don't know this and that. But like Abraham said, the research is out there, the information is out there. But you got to be concerned and interested enough in that type of stuff to go find it.
Yeah.
And if you're only interested in the crate challenge, then you're gonna miss out on the fact that we financed the Nazis.
Absolutely. We're gonna move. Anybody else have anything they want to say on this topic before we move to our next topic? We're gonna move over to the next topic for the day. Anybody have anything on their heart?
You know what, Ryan? I just wanted to add to what Rico just said when he said we won't even understand that we financed the Nazis. And guess what? That wasn't the first time. That wasn't the first time. Because when you realistically think about it, if you know history and if you study history, the whole slave movement was financed by Wall Street. It was financed by an insurance bank that had the policies for Wall Street, and all of your slave owners had property. I forget what they call them, Ryan. You might be able to help me out. They had insurance policies on all their slaves, based right there out of New York, right there in Lower Manhattan. Check it out if y'all don't believe me. So it don't surprise me. The Queen financed the Confederacy. That's how they had their own money.
Wow.
So it's they play the same playbook in so many words. The playbook don't never change.
1 point.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I found it interesting when I started researching that everything that Hitler did was based off the things that he learned from the history of the U.S. He looked at how we wiped out the Native Americans. He looked at the Jim Crow laws in the South. And matter of fact, in their whole program, or they just changed the word from Negro or colored to Jew. The eugenics movement sparked this whole interest in the whole thing of these experiments on genetics. But it wasn't that Nazism or that train of thought was imported from there to here. It originated here.
Exactly. Wow. Anybody, Badger? I think you wanted to say something as well, Badger.
There's a lot of us that are doing good out there, and because I'm a creature of research and just doing my best to always be aware, it's my empathy for other human beings that gets to me, because when I see things at like the rally I've been talking about, or anything along those lines, I see the people that are trying to find a path, trying to find a leader, trying to figure out how to survive in our current society, and they're searching. And it's something we need to keep in mind, that a lot of times the people that follow are really just people that are searching and not sure what direction to go.
Wow. I'm going to change up a little bit. Leonard, are you there? I'm coming to you. I'm gonna start off with you, and hopefully you're gonna lay a foundation for this next topic. Ain't no telling what I'm gonna get from you, brother. But have you ever been in a situation where you was having a conversation or a discussion with someone, and you have to ask them this question: do you love your lie that much? Do you love your lie that much? Talk to me, Leonard. Take it where you're going.
Well, I know if you love your lie, because you hang on to it. I know people if I talked to you 5 years ago, there's some people, if I talk to them today, they'd be saying the same thing. Whether it's true or not, if it's what they believe, I can make you a fool just by what you believe. And I'm not even trying to do it. But I allow people to have their own points of view. And if you lose in the end, that's because it was your point of view that caused you that loss. Our brother Hicks is on the right path because he realizes things, and he allows himself to use his whole self now to inform his behavior, and he's chosen to do good. So I can support him in that. After all, I don't care. I don't even care from this point on what he may have done before. He's on the right path because he recognized the significance of things. And what is not significant is that you can continue to mentally harm yourself mentally by believing that you have no hope for anything good in your life. You have to want that. All these people, I don't do the fatalism things, which is why I was pretty much quiet. If you believe that all things gonna go to hell, why don't you jump first? I'm just saying. Like Cassandra. Cassandra does good because she wants. That's what she feels. She's a good person. Mr. Hicks.
It's in her DNA.
Right. Mr. Hicks will tell us about things he's did, but I've heard nothing but good come out of him. You know what I'm saying? So even think about how worse a person could have been. And if they change their life today, it ain't about to be popular. It's because you want to do the right thing.
Exactly.
And so that's what I think that I focus on more so than what everybody else is doing. Is Leonard doing the right thing? Who has Leonard helped today? Because I know that I can't trust anyone else to do that for me. And if you sit there like, what? I wish I would get them to turn the news on. For what? I don't need that news. Now, when I want to go get it, I'll go get it for very certain things. But one, mess around there and allow yourself to get into that miserable mindset. And And
Don't
then
take long.
thank you. Because what? Misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
You got people right now that'll see you free, but try to convince you a slave.
30 seconds limit.
So we have to move away from that. And God's army won't be thinking that way. The good army won't be thinking that way. We'll be trying to fight for what we believe is the right thing to do. And there are certain people who know what they're doing is not the right thing to do, but they're not concerned about that. They want to do the wrong thing. They're not making no mistakes. They serve the devil. They are agents of wickedness.
Wow. Let's keep this thing moving. Let me go to Rico. Rico, have you ever been in a situation where you had to look at a person and sincerely ask them the question, do you love your lie that much?
What I have been in a situation and seen somebody doing that, and I say to myself, oh my goodness, man, they got a problem. They're compulsive. I didn't even ask for this lie. Listen, man, I have heard women lie about being raped and having babies when they were 12 and 13. And then you remind them of it 3 or 4 years later, and they forgot what you was talking about. Did you just lie about being gang raped? I done had a woman lie about being gang raped 3 times to excuse the fact that she don't know who her baby daddy is. She was out there popping and busting it open. Well, I went to a club and I had one drink and this thing. I know I woke up naked. I'm like, wait a minute. Well, it sounded to me like clubs ain't your cup of tea. You should have stopped going out a long time ago. Why? Oh, you're the most unluckiest female I ever met in my life. You done been gang raped at 3 parties. Click. Hang up in my face. But you know, you have to confront it that way sometimes. You have to just come out with the truth. Wait a minute, I ain't supposed to keep listening to this. What am I, your testing ground? You just want to try it out on me to see if it works before you go and put it out there in the real world? No, I didn't ask for that lie. So yeah, I done seen that plenty of time, man. I done seen it plenty of time. People lying about their accolades. People lying about their old high school football days. Man, you rode the bench. I seen the field more than you did, and I just played at halftime with the band. Quit lying, man. You know what I'm saying? But people do that for a reason. Some people do it when it's unnecessary. But when you find out the reason why they do it, or when you look at how they did it, then you sort of understand who they are. These women that lied to me about having children at a young age or being raped or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere they saw the sympathy that another woman got for that really went through it. And they were searching that sympathy and that attention. You know, you ever seen the attention that a person get when they're going through something terrible, when they're going through a death in the family? You wouldn't believe how many people out there in the world actually value that attention.
Wow.
They ain't thinking about the fact that they're saying, my condolences, my sympathies, I'm sorry for your loss, even when it's spelled L-O-S-T. Because, you know, you see people put it up there in a heartbeat, man, it quit spelling it wrong. But, you know, they looking for that attention. And before you know it, they weaving a web for another lie, some type of lie that they can put out there for themselves to get some attention. They don't think about how positive or negative the news is. They just thinking about the attention. So sometimes they might lie about a job that they got.
30 seconds.
Sometimes they might lie about a trip. Man, look, I used to have women lie to me about dancing at the Blue Flame. Forgot I was on the phone with them the night before. Why are you lying? But somehow she must have wanted to feel that was a goal or something. Maybe she wanted to be what a stripper was. You know, sometimes people value that lifestyle. So maybe she felt like if people felt like that was her, they would look at her some type of way favorable.
Wow. Hold right there.
She realized that she went dancing the night before.
Exactly.
And forgot that I even talked to her.
Good deal. Cassandra, have you ever been in a situation where you had to ask a person and you sincerely asking this person, wow, do you really believe you're a lie that much?
Yeah, because of you know what I do, I have to confront people like that all the time because, you know, especially when I'm working with women in domestic violence, you know, they really believe he loves me. It's something I'm doing you know, I pushed his button wrong or whatever, and that's male or female. I don't care. There is no, you know, reason for someone to put their hands on you and then you justify it, you know, with a lie, like putting it back on you. I mean, and it may be, I mean, very, very few instances where somebody actually pushes somebody button so much that they gotta, you know, beat them half to death or whatever. But women, especially women, because we are emotional beings, we have a way of believing the lie. And so, yeah, I have to ask people that almost on a daily basis.
Wow.
Why do you want to continue to believe the lie? This person does not love you. Not if they're beating you like that.
Yeah.
They're not.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Badger, what's on your heart?
Man, I'm trying to get a deeper. Can you repeat the question? Make sure I'm on the same page.
You're talking to somebody or whatever, you're having a conversation or a debate with somebody or whatever, and you just ask them, do you really believe your lie that much? Were they so engulfed in the, and you know it's a lie, but they so engulfed in it, you ask them the question, do you believe your lie? Do you believe your lie that much?
Yeah. And I've had to ask people that, unfortunately, because like it's wild when you present somebody with fact after fact after fact after fact, and they just want to argue their point nonstop. And it's one of the things I learned, that no matter how much I want to help people, sometimes you just need to let them fall flat on their face. Because when a person gets like that, you know, sometimes it's understanding that not everyone's going to believe the same thing. Not everyone's going to look at the world the same way. So it's learning to what is more important. An individual belief in relationship or the good of the whole. And you know, I'm trying not to get teary-eyed because of the amount of people I've ran across that are stuck thinking certain things. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter how many facts you present some of them. It's really rare for them to change their mind on the spot. A lot of times you just have to wait, and it could take years for them to, you know, finally go, hey, you remember what we talked about? Da-da-da-da-da? Yeah, I finally understand that you were, you know, why you were pointing me in that direction. You know, the path I was going down, you know, I thought they were all good people and good things, and come to find out they're just controlling, egocentric, selfish, a lot of things I can't say on your show.
Good deal, good deal. Let's go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, what do you say to that, man? Have you ever been in a situation or circumstance where you had to look at a person, just look at them and say, man, do you really believe you're alive that much?
All the time. Well, I think it a lot of times because I try to be cordial, right? But you know, I think if everybody on this show would take a course in logic and reasoning, you would question a lot of things you hold to be fact. You know, because you don't see something, somebody explain that's what you saw or what they saw, then you might take it as a fact. You might feel intimate with it, you know, and you might not consider other things, right? It is incredible that the things that I know, that I think I know, right? And my mind's always open. I'm always learning. I'm 71. I'm still learning. But I hear things that I've heard years and years ago, and it was wrong then, and it's wrong now. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm not even saying what what I found is so incorrect and so horrendous to me, but I tolerate it anyway. I bear through it because that's that person's feeling and their belief. They have no basis of fact. And I hear people talking such eloquency that you think it's fact. And it's so flawed with so many holes that you don't know where to start, where to start hammering holes in it at, right? But that's not them, but that's not your place, right? They're going to believe what they're going to believe. They're going to look at the truth, regardless of whatever they say, they're going to turn it back into the truth, right? That's what we're seeing happening today. We're seeing happen every day. When you talk, every time you mention Trump, you see the exact same example. And I had the benefit of quite a few years of observing these things, different politicians and presidents. And I see it. I saw how it started up. I can even almost trace the first day I seen it starting up. The fall of Jimmy Carter, the rise of and I can go over and over, race. And I can go over and over again, but a lie is still a lie. It doesn't change because everybody believes this lie. Everybody repeat this lie. A lie is still a lie. A fact is a fact because it happened. It happened thusly. But then you have an observation issue. It's called dualism. Two people look at the same thing. They can identify the same thing, but they have different perspectives of it. So, I can go over those again, right? I get ability again. But man, please, everything that y'all think y'all believe in, you think it's a fact, you think it's the truth, research yourself. Go beyond the narrow confines in what you study this thing at. That brings you to the opinion that's fact. That you know
30
wrong,
seconds.
that you know this, you know that. I know nothing but to question what I know. I know what I know.
Okay. And see, my thing is, we have to be real careful as to how we question each other's knowledge of what you know and what you don't know, and question someone's intellect. We have to be real careful about how we do that. We have to be very careful how we do that. So be mindful of that. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Have you ever been in a situation whereas you have to ask a person, do you really believe you're alive that much?
I've never been in that situation because I don't even go there. Because most of the time when you got a situation like that, the person know they lying. They don't need to be reminded of the fact that they lying. I might give them a look like, okay.
Like,
that's
bruh.
What you want to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If that's what you want to believe, that's what you want to believe, man. When you questioning someone's knowledge, my thought has always been this. If I'm questioning someone's knowledge, I'm realistically not questioning their knowledge. My question is, where did you get that from? Because here's what human behavior has a tendency to do. Human behavior has a tendency to look at a two-sided coin as if it's one-sided. What do I mean? What I'm saying is, if all of your knowledge comes from Fox News, or if all of your knowledge comes from MSNBC, if all of your knowledge comes from CNN, and that's all the knowledge you get. If the books you read are written by sympathizers of those very same media outlets, you know what I mean? If the writers for those books are sympathizers of those specific media outlets, then your knowledge is biased. And knowledge is not meant to be biased. If you think about science, let's just take the evolution of the transference of electricity, right? Tesla worked for Edison. Believe that electricity and/or energy transferred. Tesla was his apprentice, and Tesla told him, sir, although you did on point, but you need to evaluate if this energy can be transferred. Does energy stop? Well, they had a disagreement. Tesla walks out. When Tesla walked out, Tesla took what Edison had instilled in him and had coached and really brought to the full fruition of what the transfer of energy is, and Tesla created a conduit that allowed for the same energy that you sent from point A to get to point B and then bounce from point B to go to point C. he basically discovered that energy consistently moves. It does not stop.
Mm-hmm.
Thus allowing for us to light up almost practically the whole East Coast. I want to say going down to Virginia, as far as Virginia and as far west as Chicago, when before it wasn't like that. So I never question one's knowledge. I question exactly where they're getting that knowledge from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mary, you still with us? Can you talk? No? Yes?
I'm still here, but I'm about to have to go to my appointment in a little.
Okay. Do you want to comment on this?
Sure. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care what you believe. If
Mm-hmm.
you're lying to me, you're not gonna have a chance to lie to me again, no.
You get one shot. So you get one shot to line. That's it.
I mean, that I feel like if it's like a lie where it's like, why are you lying right now? Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
There's really no reason to lie ever. But if it's just like you playing in my face kind of lie, yeah, no, I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna let you know that I know you lying, and I'm gonna leave you where you at.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care why you lied to me or why you chose to believe that. I do not care.
Mary,
The fact that you decided to lie to me in the first place.
are you like, bruh, I know you lying.
No,
Bruh.
I'll let you finish the lie just so I know how much you wanted to disrespect me. But after that, you did what you did, love. You good where you at.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's good. Leonard, is it disrespectful for a person to just stand in your face and blatantly lie? And you know they're lying. Is that disrespectful?
Man, it just depends on your relationship with the person. People lie. You know what? I take everything with a grain of salt, man.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to you. If it sounds good, if it sounds factual, easily verifiable, we good.
Mm-hmm.
If you obviously lying, I'm like Mary. I probably won't talk to you no more.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you have is just insignificant. I like what Curtis said about knowledge. Knowledge should be unbiased.
Yeah.
You know, and people sit and they try to tell other people what they do and do not know and blah, 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 blah. No, really, you want me to believe what you have. You
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell me something. You trying to sell me what you don't find.
Mm-hmm.
But I make a lot of my decisions just in case people are interested on, say, for instance, mutually exclusive or exclusive events. That's a lot of times how I tell the people lying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if I ain't got all the information. If you toss a coin, guess what? It's either going to be heads or tails. There is no in between.
That's right.
There are some people who actually believe there's an in between.
Mm.
And they will argue you've head tooth and nail about that mutually exclusive event. And that is what brings you to people thinking that something's wrong with you or you're ridiculous. Like some people, I know this and I know that. You may know it, but is it significant?
Mm-hmm.
Is what you know significant? You know, I know a lot of stuff, but it's not that significant to every conversation or situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just knowledge for knowledge's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can use knowledge to make decisions, and then you go to the next level of the reason for acquiring it to inform decision making.
Mm-hmm.
But just to say I know more than you or know more than, you know, I don't really get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But one, just trying what people say, verifying it, just like part of the scientific method, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's no big deal. I'm not, you know, that's why I can remain a lot of times unemotional about things. When everybody else going off about this, that, really? I don't need to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm satisfied with what you say. If you satisfied with it, guess what? More power to you.
And see, I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of times, man, I'm going to go to Tucson as well. But a lot of times, man, people just sit there and they'll lie to you. And when I know they're doing it, I don't even let them know. I don't half the time. I only let them know I know they're lying. I
Just
know
let them keep talking. Just let them keep talking.
Get, you know, if that's, and like somebody else said, if that's what you want to tell me, if that's the story you want to tell me, okay, go ahead, get it out. You got it out. Okay, bye. See you later. See you later. And you know, and people, man, look at they to this day, a lot of them don't know that I knew you was lying, bro. I knew you was lying when you said it when you started. I knew you was lying when you started.
About fact and analogy, the gentleman was talking about fact.
Ibrahim. No,
I just wanna throw
Ibrahim.
this in there.
Ibrahim, no.
A comment.
No, hold on, brother.
All right.
We got other people here, man. You know we don't do that. When have we ever just did that like that, brother? Come on now. Toussaint, talk to me, man. How do you feel about that, man? Somebody lying to you, man, and to the point where you look at them, you say, bro, do you really believe this lie you telling me? That much. Talk to me.
Well, here's what I have gone as far as to say, man, that ain't a lie. That's a lie that's been told to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you believe it. You done made somebody else lie your lie.
Wow.
And you standing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't even make no sense. I had a guy that I used to work with, and he quit his job to get his retirement. So that he can make it because he had a crack whore. I'm sorry.
Hey. Mm-hmm.
So I saw him at Walmart, and I said, "Hey man, how's it going?" "Oh man, I'm just making this $35 an hour."
At Walmart.
Say, man, it's good to see you, man. We'll talk to you.
Lord. I tell you, boy, you never know what you're gonna get out of it.
Is it that important for you to bring up something that I didn't even ask you?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. And we do it over and over and over again. But
Lord Jesus. Lord. Toussaint, I don't want to cut your time, brother. You got some more you want?
Pray.
Lord. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I really don't have anything to add to that because like I said, I have to ask people that question on a daily basis with what I do, and it saddens me that people would prefer, even if it's to their detriment, to believe a lie rather than face the truth.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And Cassandra, with you being who you are, and I've been knowing you for a long time, I know your heart. It has to hurt you. It has to hurt to have these people to actually stand there and just give you this lie when you know what the reality of the situation is, and you're trying to help them. Cassandra, what place does it put you in?
Yeah, but you know what? What I have to do is I have to reflect on myself because I came out of domestic violence, and I believed a lie, and I stayed in a marriage for 14 years where I was being, abused. So I have to sympathize. I believed my lie until I was ready to face the truth. And that's what I have to do with people. Even though I will confront them with it, you cannot make a person believe the truth. They have to come to the point where they want to acknowledge, okay, I've been living a lie, and now I have to realize I'm in an abusive relationship, and I have to do something. No one can make me do that change but me.
Wow. Ibrahim, you was about to say something, brother.
Okay, yeah. Let me get to you. Oh, hold on. Okay. One thing I want to say is that, that's between lies and facts, right? See, we have a jaundiced eye. We're looking toward some things in our life that we'll take something and distort it or make that's the only thing that we hear is one point of view. Now, there was a mention about there's no in between. There's the tails and the coin. It's a mathematical fact. There's no difference between head and tails. It's a mathematical fact. Head and tails, it will come out to be 50-50 after a period of time. It will settle down to be 50-50. So the middle lies the truth. You got two extremes, right? So you have to have something to homogenize this, to bring it together and find out what is the fact, what is the truth, and what is a lie. That's why I mentioned dualism. That's another mathematical process. Look up dualism, right? So what I'm saying is the only way we know what's true to us is what's true to us in that moment, at that time, without
without a historical understanding of things, right? You know, I believe that, you know, we talked about feminine man thing the other day. There was plenty of men out here that was abused. That was abused, verbally abused, or even lied about to be abused. To set up what I call the paper trail. And I think Rico talked about that a lot. He set up a paper trail to entrap you into a certain amount of abuse or to have control and domination over you. So the only thing I have to look forward to is that to try to understand on all aspects. People hate me for that because I will look at everything on all aspects. One thing people, you know, two people don't lie to. That's myself and Allah. I don't lie to these two people. That's an entity and a person. I don't lie to that because lying to myself is even worse than lying to Allah. Allah knows the truth, and I'll be distorted going down an aimless path, right? But still, you know, let's understand what fact and logic and reason is, you know, and give ourselves that opportunity to empathize with people and to look at what it is on face value, and then expand from there. You know,
okay.
That's all that was on my mind.
Okay, but see, you said something, and you said something based on Curtis' rebuttal to what you said. So I'm gonna go back to Curtis and let him have an opportunity to give him 3 minutes to say what he want to say about that. We have another young lady that actually just joined us as well. I want to bring her on to the conversation. But you say that there is a middle ground. That's very interesting to me. But Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Curtis?
Raheem?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Go ahead.
I was listening. I don't understand rebuttal to what. Maybe I missed it.
No, well, you were saying that there's.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, Raheem. It just sounded like that was nothing to rebut. It sounded like he just clarified it, and it was all true.
No, what he said. What my thing was when he said we was talking about the coin situation where there's two sides to the coin and there is no middle ground and then a 50-50. I just wanted to see what Curtis thought about that part of it.
There's no middle ground.
Well, you said that you said that there is no middle ground, and he said that there's a 50-50 and you flip a coin so many times. If you flip a coin so many times, it's gonna be a 50-50.
I used the coin analogy, Raheem. I don't think Kurt did that.
Oh, that was you? Okay. Well, do you want to?
I was just gonna say, since you came to me, you know, always remember the middle ground of a coin is rigid.
Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus.
You know what I mean? But in that context, here's the thing that always blows my mind real quick.
Mm-hmm.
In that context, be it if you heads or if you tails, there's always something that I think has been lost over the art of compromise over the years. There's always something that has a common ground that you can actually stand on, even if you on the heads or if you on the tails. If you really look at a given situation and circumstance, there is a middle ground that you can stand on and compromise. The problem, I think, in today's world is nobody wants to. I think today's world has gotten too selfish. Nobody wants to admit that they're wrong. Everybody wants to be right. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't understand, and I've been trying to find out, when did our world switch to where we can't even be adult enough to admit when we are wrong? The greatest lessons I learned in my life, to be honest with you, was because I did something wrong. So that's all I would say to the whole thing.
Okay. Now, I might have my people mixed up a little bit. Linda, did you want to say anything about the middle ground with the coins or the 50-50? You want to just move on?
No, I don't have to, because if you flip a coin, let me know when you get something else. But anyway, I wanted to address something. I want to address something Hicks said. Kurt, stop it. Get on mute. Get on mute, Kurt, because I'm about to snap. Anyway, I wanted to share with Hicks something that he had said about being emotion and living my life as a soldier. I'm not even a combat veteran, but I had a certain style of doing things that was absent of emotion, very unbiased. And it seems like at one moment when I took into consideration everything, I almost had a nervous breakdown, Hicks.
Wow.
It was as if something just fell on me like a dark cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you sit there and you subject yourself to that, it will encompass you if you're not strong. If your light ain't bright enough, you'll just be in this dark world.
Mm.
But the light has to be bright enough in you to make the difference. And so that's how I started moving forward, is making sure that the light was always in front. And so it was shining on all the dark places I was going in. The light was shining and exposing those things. So and then it became to where, in fact, that was one, I ain't even got to be emotional. I got to focus on being right.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Let me go to we got the young lady with us this morning. I want to say first to let her introduce herself and tell where she's hailing from.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Shanavia Clark. Back again. Everybody calls me Navy. Please feel free to do so. Shanavia is a mouthful. I am reporting from Gulfport, Mississippi. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We asked a question. I want to hear your heart on this right here. Have you ever been in a conversation or debate or what have you with someone, and you look at them and you say, wow, do you really believe you're alive that much? You know they're lying to you. You know there's no facts in what they're saying, but you have to ask them, do you really believe you're alive that much? Navy, what do you say to
that? More often than not, I find myself in that situation. And I think that is the problem with our own cognitive delusions. There's a 99.99% chance of what's being said that is probably some crock, but there's that 0.1% that we believe that's just like, you know what, but it could be. It's still not out of the realm of reality. And I think that's why when you find those individuals, it makes so it's believable to them. And they can almost convince you that that what they're saying is true.
Yeah, exactly. And see, and that's the thing, right? And to me, honestly speaking, that's the dangerous part, because they believe it that much. They believe what they're saying is true. But reality, Navy talked about, reality just don't line up with what they're saying.
But trying to convince them of that reality, because the thing is their reality versus our reality versus the reality. And there may be a small portion of truth from each of those, but there still has to be a well, sir, do you really think, or ma'am, do you really think that there is spies in your closet right now? Or do you actually believe that, the FBI is following you right now? Because of the world that we live in, and we like to post everything on TV. I don't know if everybody really has their own FBI agent. I don't know that. But someone else that truly believes that will convince themselves, and to some degree can sometimes make some points to make you scratch your head and be like, well, wait a minute, maybe I should reconsider this reality.
You second guessing your own reality, Lord Jesus. Right. Willa, good morning, Willa. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. I'm doing fine.
Good
morning, Shane.
Willa, we asking a question. Have you ever been in a situation, circumstance, conversation, debate, what have you, with someone, and you ask them this question, Willa? You say, wow, do you really believe you're alive that much? Do you really believe you're alive? Willa, what do you do in a situation like that? Or have it ever happened?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We got a daughter. We have a daughter that we talk to maybe every other week or something like that. When she calls and we answer, we already know that we have to decipher what's the truth and what's a lie.
Wow.
And just to even say the lies is funny, because when I was growing up, my grandmother and my grandparents always used to say they're telling a story. But as I got older, people would say, girl, that ain't no story, that's a lie. But that's what she does. And You know, we asked her at one time or another, me and her father, why you lie so much? And she it ain't no lie. You know, she continually does that. You know, we just say that she's looking for attention because she's one of those children that we have that she was like real. You know, she gave us a lot of problems, and so now she's trying to straighten her life out. But I still can't justify her lies. I still can't. And to this day, she's doing the same thing.
Wow.
So why she won't change it, I don't know. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Exactly. Cassandra, talk to me.
Yeah, you know, and Willa is right. It's a lot of times for people, it's about that attention. You know, and it's about that attention. And even with the young people that I work with that are you know, that have mental health issues, they will sit in your face and tell you the biggest lie that you know is a lie, but they need that attention. And I don't fault them for that. You understand what I'm saying? I try to rationalize with them and let them see that's not the reality of what's happening with you. But sometimes you got to you have to be, what's the word?
Patient.
I don't not diplomatic, but you have to use wisdom in the way. Even when you're trying to bring the truth to someone, you have to use wisdom in even bringing the truth. And yes, we want to just put it out there, but you could literally permanently damage people if you just throw things at them sometimes. So I always ask God, how do I tell them, you know, the truth? You know what I'm saying? Without further damaging them. So, and that's Curtis probably knows a lot more about that and how we deal with clients.
Okay, Curtis, what do you say to that, brother?
You know, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you so much, sis. You know, a lot of times we have to know when is the time for that lie to be confronted, right? When you're dealing with people, because sometimes we just by nature, this person lying, I'm getting on them, right?
Yeah.
Even evaluating, well, what is the purpose of that lie?
They're a liar.
How? That is being no disrespect, but that is being very ignorant. Because sometimes a person will tell a lie because the truth is very, very inconvenient. And the truth.
Does that change it from being a lie?
Huh?
Does that change it from being a lie?
That has absolutely nothing to do with it. We're talking about how to deal with people like that.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to let them, Cassandra kind of said it, but you kind of got to let them maneuver through their lie to find the truth, to recognize the truth, and then accept the truth. For some people, if you modulate them too far, too quick, you'll completely lose them from the dynamic altogether.
So you have to massage their lie into, hopefully they can get to a place with the truth.
No, because that's not a profession. That's not a professional way to put it.
And Curtis, you know, I'm just being a question asker right now, brother. So bear with me. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm staying with you. No, it's the art of understanding that every single human being is not prepared or not as prepared as you are to exist in their truths. Everybody's not prepared for that. Everybody's not prepared for example, my daddy is a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not prepared for it. Or my mama and daddy were alcoholics. It took me years to be accepting and understanding to the point of value that my mother and father were complete alcoholics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It took me years. And had somebody had
30 seconds,
said
Curtis.
that to me
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, brother.
years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I might would have smacked the fire out of them.
Mm-hmm. And
You know what
see,
I'm saying? So
go ahead.
you have to be cognizant of what this person either has gone through or is going through, and why does this lie? Why do they choose to live in this lie? For some
Mhm.
people, it's just more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like to be comfort. They don't like to feel discomfort, especially emotionally. So those are things that you have to consider when you're dealing with such people like the people we're talking about, especially the ones that Cassandra's talking about. Why
Go.
does this lie exist?
Good
What
deal.
is
We
going
got it.
on? What is
Got
really
it.
behind the
Curtis.
lie? You'll find
Curtis, gotta keep it moving, brother. My thing is, and see, I could have gone. It's a lot of different ways I could have gone with that, but you know, I know when the topic get a little sensitive, you know, you got to know when to pull up a little bit and when to hit pump them brakes. And so I just chose at that particular moment to pump the brakes on that part of it because it has a potential to become very sensitive. Let me go to Leonard. What do you say to that, brother? Man, this person just lying, man. They just lying. They're just lying. You know they lying, Leonard. You look at it, you know, man. How do you deal with that? What do you do? And let me do this because somebody asked for the phone number. The phone lines are open 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Leonard, talk to me.
Well, you know, I like what Kurt said, because definitely professionally and counseling and things like that, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
What he just mentioned, point blank. So when you're working with people, especially people who may have a some type of cognitive disorder or emotional disorder or what have you, there's a process and work involved in trying to get them to accept certain things, whether it's the truth, for instance. Just getting people to accept the truth sometimes is difficult. You know, I love his approach, and we all know my approach is a lot more abrasive. And so and so, you know, he was exactly right. There's a difference. But now you ask me how I deal with it. The older I get, the more I get like my grandfather. I just don't want to talk to you. Because it's gonna hurt my feelings that you sit there and believe that. And then sometimes, you know, have you ever talked to people and you feel sorry for them because they really believe their lie?
Yeah.
Some people you can see behind their eyes. They just want to see if they can get away with it. But then there's those people that they really believe in they lie. Some people usually just trying to hustle you, and that's why they lying to you or whatever. But then there are those people that are truly, like Miss Navy pointed out, your reality, their reality, and actual reality. You know, that's a good way to put it out there. But I think it's very important that everybody make sure they check that in themselves. You know, check yourself.
Yeah.
See if any of that is in you. One thing about writing and things like that and making points and, you know, working towards definitely, I'll probably be a lobbyist soon. And it's very important that you can explain things to people. And you have to be able to persuade people. The moment you tell a lie that's recognized by someone, you lose. Because that one person gonna tell us, somebody gonna be, wait a minute, what did he just say? Because, you know, as we listen to this show sometimes,
Did you just wait a minute.
And you know, I had to personally come to you and shut a person down and let you know that, oh, I'm not going to be on the show with them because they just lie too much. And that's misleading, and people won't listen if they just hear lie after lie after lie. I don't even understand how, you know, but what's very popular with gossip, they say, he say, she say, but we just saying it, and it could be true or not, and it could be just rumor. But people make a living off lying and rumor.
Absolutely.
So there are some benefits for those types of people, and we have to always recognize that.
Wow, that's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. God is good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hold on, right here. Let me ask you something. Am I showing up on the phone line?
On the phone line? Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, did it look like I got disconnected or something?
No, it's just a lot of people there. Why, what's going on? Did I miss you?
Oh, I just got to hearing the same voices over and over again, and I just wondered if you had a special panel, and I just need to listen.
No,
I can do that.
No, ain't no special panel, brother. We coming back to you. Let me get my phone. Mm-hmm. I got a couple people on the phone, and I'll circle back around. But no, that's not the case. God, what's on your heart, sister? God, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever been in a situation? Have you ever been in a situation or circumstance where you know a person is lying to you, and you look at them, and you ask the question, do you really believe the lie that you're telling that much? Do you really believe your lie that much? God, have that ever happened to you?
I've been through it 2 major times and 2 major situations.
Mm-hmm.
And one person was close to me, and the other person is a business. Both of them were business partners.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got something in writing and you still lying, it's a rude awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for yourself, and then you got somebody else that's not a business partner, but they just business, and they'll just lie to get their way. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Or try to take over a situation, because of their ill begots. They do stuff that's not part of a cultural agenda that we are not liking within that business neighborhood. So they'll just lie to be able to get their way so they can do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And really believe what the business is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might make money, but it ain't nothing positive that we're trying to bring to this neighborhood, the culture that's been here for umpteen years, because it's a historic neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I call it an elephant in the room.
Yes.
And sometimes when you have an elephant in the room, you got to bring it to the table.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are scared to bring it to the table because of that gangster background that they got.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Of course, I have to bring stuff to the table, but you also got to check yourself when you bring it to the table, that's what Miss Cassandra was saying, how you bring it. But sometimes you got
to bring that gangster with you.
You can't step down off of you don't want to step down off of your certain pedestal and vibe on that negative vibration.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you got to bring that gangster with you.
You try not to bring that gangster, because some things now in 2022, it could be something so simple that it'll take it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you also got to step your ground, because you cannot allow somebody to step over you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's good.
Catch you in 2022.
30 seconds, now, goddess.
So, I'm done.
Okay. Good deal. Let me keep this in. Brother Pete, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, DKN Radio Morning Glow. Y'all need to stop all this lying on the radio. And listen to panel and audience. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Pete, how do you deal with that, man? You talking to somebody, man, and you're trying to have an intellectual conversation with them, but you know they're lying, man. You know they're lying, Pete. And you look at them, you get to the point, you look at them and say, do you really believe the lie that you're telling that much? Pete, how do you deal with that situation?
It would depend on the situation. In transportation, drivers are known to tell big ones. I had a guy tell me he caught a 8-foot catfish in Lake Michigan on the lakefront of Chicago, and they had to call in a flatbed and lift it out the water and put it on the flatbed. I was like, oh, really? Well, did you know that I caught a whale on the north side of Chicago in Evanston with a 2-pound fishing rod?
Good Lord.
And it made the news too. Did you see it? And they had to bring in a barge to put that up on there. And I looked him right in his eyes and said that to him.
So y'all having a lie contest.
Okay. So he knew that I knew he was lying. Okay. Right there. Now, at the stage of the game and the age right now, generally with somebody we having a conversation, in that scenario, I would probably just blow that off. But if it's something meaningful and purposeful, I would look you dead in your eyes and tell you, you do understand and know that I don't believe anything that you just said. I believe you are lying or not telling the truth. And that's what I would tell you to your face.
Ain't no two ways about it.
Looking you dead in your eyes.
Wow. Wow. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
I lost my point of view a long time ago, man. I'm just listening for distraction right now. Just seeing if I can find something interesting. You go ahead and go to the next person.
Okay, cool beans, cool beans. Let's go to as a matter of fact, Curtis, what's on your heart, brother?
I really don't have too much to say. A lie's a lie, a lie's a lie. A lie's tell it. You know, at some point we all have told a lie, so we ain't gonna sit here and act like we ain't never lied our dog ourselves. So
come on now, Curtis. Come on now. Don't you start that.
I'm just saying. I mean, the pot can't keep calling the kettle black. You know what I mean? People get wrong conception. Some of us tell a lie in our truth. What about that?
Come on.
Some of us tell a lie in our truth. What? Okay, you want me to break that down?
Yeah, elaborate on that. Yes, sir.
All right, look. I got a homeboy right now as I speak. That I question, not I think about, that I know is a cold, hard killer. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And everybody that know him know that he's a killer. Right? And that's the image that he give off. Especially the people he don't know. Right? The truth be told is that man don't want to be that. He don't want to be. But he has to live that lie or that image because it's the one thing that keeps him alive. I'm just saying, some of us are in that space. Some of us are in that space. Some of us exist in that space consistently every day. A lot of these rappers, they liars. And now the streets is making them have to live in that space. Well, you lied about how hard you is. Let's see how hard you is. I'm gonna check you. Next show, when you come to my city, I'm gonna catch you slipping at the Whataburger. I'm gonna catch you slipping at the White Castle, and I'm gonna tap on your gangster. We're gonna see how hard you is.
Yeah.
What happens most of the time? They either get knocked out, or they wind up getting in trouble because guess what? Man, I was just rapping, man.
Yeah.
That's all, that's where my mind is. I could be wrong.
Good deal, good deal. Nix, what's on your heart, brother? Hicks?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was listening. I guess short for me, it's what's that one about getting something out your eye before you pointing out something in somebody else's eye? And I think that's a principle. I learned a lot growing up because I was one person at home and I had different rules and the rules and how if you lie you'll steal, if you steal you'll kill. So that was again, I talk about those 10 commandments and things that I got in early, kindergarten and Sunday schools and stuff like that. That was a sort of like a traction point as I matured and grew. Being this age, you learn that that everybody lies under certain circumstances, and
You lie. I mean, I lie. People lie. You lie under certain circumstances, but once you understand that how the lies are webbed and how you don't get away with a lie, the longer you live, you can look down the line and see, that you get yourself wrapped up in a web.
Mm-hmm.
And all you can do from that point, when you recognize it, is begin to stand from truth. Stand up and be truthful, but it takes a lot of strength.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a whole lot of strength to stand up in face of opposition. When the truth, the facts, from your perspective. But it's there's a term called clear evidence in the Sharia in Islam, and it talks about making a judgment, assumption. A lot of times, what we call someone lying, we're making a judgment based off our instincts or whatever. That's you feel that a person's lying, but you can't rely on that because they may appear such and everything be that way. But when you really sort it down to the end, it was not that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool beans. Let's go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, he just brought to mind when he mentioned the Quran and about your suspicion and assumptions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important that we understand that we don't know the entire truth. Some things irk me about, and I see things happen in society, and people call it their truth, or their body, or their this, or their that, and it just sometimes it just irks me that you got to go beyond that. There's a society beyond you that you're a part of. You know what I mean? And that we have to all give some of ourselves to be a part of society when the Romans do like the Romans do. And sometimes we go too far with that. But just saying I know the truth, I'd be like, I probably be slapping myself when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it before. This is the truth, And but I don't really mean that. I mean, this is my understanding of what things are and what I've learned. Have you studied? Have you reached?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm the doctor's office. I got to go.
You at the doctor's office?
Thank you. Let me speak.
Hey, absolutely appreciate it, brother. Toussaint, talk to me.
Remember the little boy? This man. I think there's a story of a man looking up in the sky, gathering a crowd, and he gathers a crowd, and somebody finally asks him, "What are you looking at?" He said, "Just trying to see how many fools I can gather." It might have not said like that. I never could tell a joke or nothing like that. But, let me just throw out a lie that we always tell. I'm really smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's my lie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That most men tell.
Yes.
I'm really intelligent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ask me. I'll tell you.
You tell.
I'm a genius.
Lord Jesus.
Until I don't know how to shut my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're standing on it.
Yeah.
And I'm listening as smart as wisdom that know how to contain himself. I'm really Raheem.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem.
Yes, sir.
Let me sound intellectual.
Come on now.
Really smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
what happened? What he just did. I'm gonna tell you what he just did. He said, "I'm real smart until I learn how to shut my mouth." He said, "I'm gonna show you how intellectual I am," and he stopped talking. Y'all, yeah, and he stopped talking. Let me, yeah, I know what you're doing over there, brother. I'm with you. Let me go. Let me keep this thing going, and I wanna. Leonard, can you see this right here? Public Citizen put this on the screen. Read that for me, Leonard.
We go to great lengths to protect our egos when the truth hurts, but the hurt is the only path forward.
What do you say to that, Leonard?
I do believe that's true. I think it's like he brought up, this new term, my truth.
Mm-hmm.
So It's amazing, ain't it? That you got one that don't nobody else have.
Your individual.
But it's yours though.
Mm-hmm.
But it's yours though.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody, that's my truth. I just mean to tell you, they don't even want to accept the fact that they are wrapped up in this lie, or do they really believe it? Because I can't imagine telling God that I am a woman. Do you really tell God that you're a woman in your closet when you're praying? Like I say, you know, whose truth? What your truth could be anything. That's why you had to put that thing in, that modifier in front. My truth.
Exactly.
Because you let me know right there that there may be some holes in that game.
Absolutely.
Only you believe whatever it is that you considering true, that for somehow it only belongs to you. The truth is what it is. It don't have to belong to you. So when somebody tell me they have a truth, you should be suspect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
Oof.
Come on.
Well, I mean, it's a situational trait with folks. Like you say, their truth. People believe what they want to believe, and reality and truth and facts, and staring them in the face, and they'll believe a lie. They'll present a lie. It's so easy to tell a lie, and we would be amazed at how people believe their lies. So it is actually their truth. They actually believe a lot of this foolishness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of situational. You know, this is where we are. People like to just dream and imaginate in their mind and create these cartoonistic realities, and then want to impress upon you that is real. It's just where we are. Lying is something that we do, something that we will encounter, something that I think will be around for a long time. But what we want to remember, though, just for the record, you could do nothing against the truth, only for it.
Exactly.
If you mount a stance against the truth, you have already lost.
Exactly. Badger, what's on your heart?
So I was really glad they brought this part up. So when I was a kid in school, you know, I shared with you all some of the teachings that they tried to make me believe. And when I was a kid, I believed them. It was my truth. But I learned a really important lesson about my truth. If you are closed-minded, you're going to believe something that could be false. So I learned when facts were presented to me that an individual's truth can change over time based on information that is given. And it depends on the individual's ability to be open-minded to new information. So, you know, when I was in school, I honestly believed that other races had more privilege.
Wow.
It wasn't until I got older and researched that I went, oh, that's a lie. And then I went, what else was a lie? And then I started looking at facts. I started researching, started asking people, learning different perceptions, different perspectives, different ideologies. And then over time, I learned to find my relationship with God or Great Spirit. To the point of what I believe through Great Spirit, I'm not going to push on anybody else because it's mine. But I'm open-minded enough to learn different ways to go about it, different ways to learn and grow.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway from learning anything is how you're going to use it to grow. You know, you can get so much information, but does it help you grow? How does it help you grow? And I don't know about other people, but or who was in the lineup. We go to Rico. Rico, what do you think about what Badger just said? Rico, are you there? I guess Rico must have stepped away from a moment. But anybody could chime in. Miss Cassandra.
Yes.
All right, I'm back.
What do you? How do you feel about? Because, like you said, you dealing with a lot of people, and people are very protective and defensive because they have some issues. But do you feel it necessary sometimes? How do you value when someone says, use that term, my truth?
I let them stand with that because, you know, who am I to tell them that even though I may not agree with it, it's their truth. I go with that. I allow them to say that to me. You don't know my truth, that, you know, because that's the way a lot of people present it to me. You don't know my story, or you don't know this is my truth. And they are emphatic about it. And I've done it. So I realize that, because sometimes you feel like, you know, people have no idea. They don't know who you are. They judge you by, you know, by the way you may say, or the way you may say something that they don't like, that, your tone, whatever. But my truth is my truth regardless. So people may not like it, and it's okay, because I don't like some things that other people say and do. But that's them. That is that's their truth, that's their belief, whatever it is. So I try to maintain where I can listen to people. Let me tell you something. I have friends that are Buddhists. I have friends that are Muslim. And guess what? I respect all of their religious beliefs without any prejudice or anything, nothing. Because that is what they want to believe. I'm a Christian. I believe what I believe. If they want me to share with them, I'll share. But I don't push. Somebody said that a minute ago. I don't push what I believe on anybody.
That's good.
I'm not going to push it.
That's good.
And I'm glad she said it that way, Raheem, because that's what I wanted to use from her explanation. And we use the word the wrong way. Say your belief. See, people use those two words interchangeably, and they're not. They're simply not interchangeable. Truth and belief are two different things. And people should say my belief as opposed to my truth, because truth has to be true.
Yeah.
It has to be tested as true. Let's say, for instance, I believe the Bible don't say that God so loved the world that whosoever, you know, if you know and understand. No. Says if you believe.
Absolutely. Let me go to Willa. Willa, what's on your heart? God is coming to you next. Excuse me.
I was gonna kind of answer the question about what you were saying when you said that how do you deal with people that come to you with a lie? And I was trying to, but then Leonard threw me off when he started talking about the Bible. But and when we talk about the belief system, but when somebody is lying to you, at the end of the day, they know the truth. There's no reason to kind of argue with somebody that they know that they're lying, and you trying to bring out the truth. That's not going to happen, because there are different levels of people lying. It's called practical liars, or I told a small lie. Like somebody mentioned earlier, we all lie, but you don't want to be named your characteristic as a liar. I believe that's what you were addressing. How do we deal with that kind of person?
Yes, absolutely.
Because you're right, we've all probably told a lie here or there, but we don't want to be looked at as a liar. A characteristic. Oh, here, right here, come on. I know everything come out of his mouth is a lie. You don't want to be looked at like that.
Yeah.
That's what I believe that you are addressing. But the truth, you definitely can't change the truth, no matter how you try to cover it up or change it. The truth reveals itself. The Bible says to try the spirit by the spirit.
Yes.
So all you got to do is just try him. Try him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll understand where faith comes in. Because I say it all the time. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. But we try to do it some other kind of way. We try to change the way God instructed us or how we get to where he wants us to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny how as Christians, we want to direct God and change the way he instructed us too. He told Noah each and every nail, he told him how to put it when he told him to put that boat together.
Mm-hmm.
He instructed him if he had to get it any way different, it wouldn't have been as successful as it was. So in reality, he tells us when he tells us for a reason. And you're right. At the end of the day, it is our choice to choose which one we're going to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I believe the truth.
Mm-hmm. Goddess, what's on your heart? Goddess, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. What's on your heart, sis?
I was just sitting back listening to what she was saying. How I'm looking at it in my personal point of view is a lot of people really believe in their truth
Mm-hmm.
to the point that they have been miseducated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And miseducation is a reason for a lot of ill-begotten truths. And a lot of people don't want to change or wake up from the miseducation. And when people bring them the truth, they rather stay miseducated.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
That right there is one of the biggest problems with our own people, in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They'll let somebody else call it something else, and they'll tag onto it because they were miseducated or they were so far away from their natural state of life.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And
Wow.
what I mean by that is they'll listen to what a white doctor would say, as opposed to a black midwife.
Mm-hmm.
This lady then sat down and had over taking care of probably 500 babies. Them old black women back in the country days, they didn't go to the hospital, so they knew exactly what was going on, how it was going on, what you needed to do. They remember all that.
Mm-hmm.
What you shouldn't do, what herbs you needed, what you needed.
40 seconds, goddess. Mm-hmm.
But we'll listen to the white doctor regarding our baby, and they putting our babies in all the getting all this, the supersonic, the different X-rays and sonograms and all that is killing and destroying our bodies and our babies and killing our babies. Epidurals, all that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Kurt, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, man.
What's on your heart?
You know, man, you know, we I keep thinking about the Denzel Washington quote, to be honest with you, which I think is a very, very powerful quote that he made when he spoke of a reporter asked him, something to the effect of,
how he studied, right, or how he things of that nature. And Denzel said, well, let me ask you a question. When the reporter was asking them something about America, current state of America, and Denzel reported, he said, let me ask you a question. When is too much information? When is information too much information? Like, when does the time come when you're taking in so much information that it becomes hard for you to even decipher between what is real and what is fake? You know, like I heard somebody earlier say, and sometimes I hate it when people say this because they send a false dichotomy to those who are listening. But I heard somebody say earlier when we was talking about a lie, the automatic assumption was to go to the media, right? I believe it was earlier when we was talking about oh my God, what we was talking about earlier before we switched topics. And automatically it was the media. And I'm like, you know, that's when we was talking about communism. And I was like, yo, that is a bad precedent to set, because when the people, that's like saying all black folk are criminals. When people can no longer rely on the media or automatically has this understanding or thought that the media is always telling you a lie, well, where's the checks and balances? Because there are things going on that we don't have the power to see, and we don't have the power to ask those questions for the world to find out. So, you know, I just, you know, sometimes, you know what, you just gotta let a lie fly. You know what I mean? Let it fly. Let it go somewhere else. You don't have to entertain it, but all at the same time, you know, sometimes you gotta look at a lie and find truth. Because sometimes telling lies because they either trying to tell you a truth or they're trying to cover up a truth. But
Exactly.
everybody to know.
That's good. That's good. Let me go to our Pete. Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm pretty much just listening at the moment.
Okay. That's good. That's good, because there's a lot tied up into this thing. Badger, talk to me, brother. I see you got something on your heart there. What's on your heart, Badger?
I have a lot on my heart on this topic. You know, in today's society,
Badger?
it's because of my experiences. You know, I've had so many people approach me with the saying that, you know, this is the truth. And, you know, when when they find out that I actually know what they're talking about, most of the time they don't come back and talk to me. Because I have a tendency to point out issues, because I'm a researcher. So, and sometimes I'll just sit there and be quiet and just let them, you know, fall. Because if belief, truth, and things like that, there's a fine line of what, if we go down that road, what truth is. Because some of it can boil down to a very passionate belief in what is considered truth. So here's a really good example: the Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
There are people who wholeheartedly think a particular way, that it's our place to condemn certain people for thinking certain things. Then there are people that are you know, using the same principles, but approach it from the standpoint of compassion and caring and willing to be there for those people, to hope that they follow a different path. Which one's true?
Hey, there you go.
So it's now, if we want to get into truth as far as factual information, I made a comment in our private chat that even science, there are times where science, something that has been considered truth for 1,000 years, all of a sudden, you know, they find out that trees and mushrooms and stuff actually communicate with one another. Wow, look at all these indigenous people that could have told you that 1,000 years ago, but you wanted to say they were lying.
Wow.
So that's why I brought up belief. Belief almost it is, in my view, belief can greatly influence what a person would consider truth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Cassandra, and we talked a little bit earlier about my truth, and you said, we said also as well, we also said that you have to be real careful how you when you're dealing with somebody, you're diagnosing somebody to a certain level, you have to be real careful about how you reach them in regards to their truth, even if you know that it's not true. Even though you know it's not true, Cassandra, how delicate of a flower is that?
For me, and what I do, it can be life and death. So I have to be extremely careful. Even when I know a client is lying, I have to be extremely careful how I address that lie. And I think Curtis, said pretty much the same thing.
Yes.
We have ways that we, try to get that person to that truth, but to just slap it on them, man, you may have people committing suicide. You may have people going into, psychotic breaks. Oh, no. You have to be careful, even when you know it's a lie.
Yeah.
For what we do. I can't talk for nobody else because we're liable for what we do. What we do, we have to be extremely careful how we bring them to the reality of that lie.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Been a great broadcast. Anybody have anything to want to say before we get out of here? The power of a lie. Boy, a lie. Go ahead.
Like I said, I have a ton to say.
Well, Badger, we gotta go, man. It's 10 o'clock. Go ahead.
If anyone listened to anything I said, I brought up the things that people try to force me to believe. And then I learned to be open-minded and learned. And one of the biggest things I really, really feel about is there are individual truths. And a person's going to be really passionate about them. Yet I also feel that there are times where an individual truth, which some people would use the term my truth, might not be for someone else. So it's learning to respect and honor and what is good for the whole. So for me, how I view truth is what is good, what could be good for just about anybody.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Well, we are about to get out of here for today. It's been a great broadcast. Leonard.
Yes, sir.
What is going on at 3 o'clock today, sir?
If you did not get a chance to hear the show in its entirety, log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3 o'clock Eastern today.
Good deal. Good deal. Is she here? Is she here?
I'm here, Raheem.
I want to know, is she here?
Waiting.
Come on now. Well,
Raheem, I'm waiting.
Are you? Let me ask you. Are you ready? Are you?
In my lane.
Are you ready? I just want to know. Are you ready?
Raheem, I'm ready, Raheem. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Raheem?
Well, let's go. Let's go, Willa.
Let's go. Let's go to the throne of grace this morning. Father, we come to you, to your throne boldly this morning with humble hearts and bow down heads. Father, we thank you so much for gathering us together, oh Lord. The enemy tried to get busy, but the devil is a lie. We cancel anything he thinks that he got planned. Father, we thank you so much for all you do for us. You so graciously give us things every day, Lord. But the one thing that you give us is life. You give us life and the freedom to choose, Lord. And Father, we thank you for that, Lord. Amen. We thank you, Lord, and honor you this morning, Lord. Father, I'm asking you to touch each and every last one that's on this line. Father, we don't know, but you know what's going on, Lord. And I'm asking you, oh Lord, to help them, strengthen them, guide them, show them your ways, line them up with your will.
Yes,
Father, we love and honor you this morning. Yes. We glorify you, Lord, this morning. Keep this show in success, Lord. Keep Raheem safe. Keep him protected, Lord. In the name of Jesus, Lord. I'm asking these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
There you go. We there. Good deal. Anybody got anything before we get out of here? Anybody got anything? Let me know right now or forever hold your peace. See, everybody holding their peace. It's been a great podcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:03. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. That we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day, and please, please, please be blessed. Love ya.